Where is it?
Yeah.
Hmm?
In here. Go to the folder you made.
Right. We're going to the folder we made. We're on the other screen at the moment. You'll see us in a moment. But we're coming to see you. Welcome all to Lockdown Live.
Oh, music.
Oh wow, you got music here. Look at this. Then we just put that on. Hey, who recognises this? Welcome. Just so close. Had this all so close to set up perfectly, and then just was like bang, play on the wrong music. Welcome to Lockdown Live. How are you all? You're going to be able to tell us soon. We just need to be able to check that we're joining the stream. We think we are. Welcome to Lockdown Live. How exciting is this?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's all a bit hectic. Like, I'm looking at about 5 different things going on.
So let's join our main screen. We're going to be like this for most of the time. Welcome to the Fallout Bunker. Isn't this an interesting experience? I think I'm so excited about everything that's happening in the world at the moment. From the ability to set this up to COVID, which is just such a fascinating thing for a lifetime. But what has it done to our trip?
Change things a bit, yeah.
What would you say would be the biggest changes, or what are your thoughts on? It's a broad question.
Yeah, well, open question. Plans up in the air, really, isn't it? We're not going to be leaving in, what were we saying, July to go travelling? Not happening.
Yeah, that's not happening.
No.
I realise what's gone on here. The music was only playing through a different source. So when do you reckon we might be leaving by?
I think it'll be next year.
Can we wait till next year? I mean, that's the thing. There's some unstable democracies. We plan deliberately on heading towards less stable places, so it might take them longer to get back on their feet. Conversely, I think this will cause a massive shrinking in the power of projection of the West, so they might become more stable. I don't know.
Yeah, but either way, I don't think and if they are, they're open and saying, all right, stay 2 weeks in some hotel somewhere, and then you can carry on your journey, which is just, that's not possible.
Yeah, we've seen Pedro and Itchy both being like, maybe it'll blow over, and everybody around here is like, it's not blowing over. Oh yeah, let's switch our phones to silent. Unless that's people that you need to chat about with this. So this is a big, exciting event. Welcome to the 3,000 subscriber special. Welcome to Lockdown Live for anybody who joins us. I should have the chat here somewhere. Here we go. Hi guys. Oh my goodness, people are already here. G'day, John McKay. G'day, John from the Netherlands. G'day, Simon from England. Mike Hatwell from the UK. Hatswell from the UK. G'day, Philip Cokes. G'day from the UK again as well. Hi from Canada. Hello from France. Hi guys, Two Wheel Freak. We talk to you a lot.
Dean.
And Jean-Luc. Sorry, that's Dean. That's Dean. Is that Dean a UK biker?
Oh, actually.
We got to make sure we're talking to the
Oh
right people
no.
here. It's so lovely to see that you've joined us in so quickly. Goodness gracious, we'd barely started, and you were all here. Let's put this over here
Not
so you
Dean.
stay in the shot.
Not Dean. Dave. I've forgotten Two Wheel Biker's name now.
There we go. That's a bit better. You've forgotten Two Wheel Biker's name now. Oh, that's embarrassing. We had some people recognise us. We've got a show coming up for you tonight. What are you laughing at?
You're just so hyped.
Yeah,
so excited to be going live.
Yeah. Listen, you had a big smile on your face. We've got a bottle of bloody Bolly. Bottle of Bolly. There was some shouting in both microphones now.
Yeah, we had plans for Easter. You know,
Liz has the temperament of a saint.
you might notice that I do in the course of this chat.
Thanks, Cedric. I think I might be getting a bit of that.
Yeah, we were planning, obviously, Easter. I think a lot of people, let's go and have dinner with the family and all the sort of normal stuff. So, not happening. Staying in the flat, talking to you lovely people instead. but it means that I have some fizz to at least celebrate our 3,000 subscribers. So we might be a little drunk by the end of the end of the live chat.
We do want you to join in with us, though. So keep going in the chat. We were thinking, rather than just speaking from beginning to end, we might try to put it in segments. So show you some upcoming clips, as you can see on the other screen. If actually, I just got to switch the other screen. So it says what it's meant to say, which is welcome to Writing on Eggshells Lockdown Live. We need to get open the Facebook chat as well. I forgot that. We're streaming on Facebook at the moment. Live producer. There we go. Bang.
The amount of screens going on at the minute is insane.
So confusing.
I'm like, are we on YouTube? I don't see a YouTube thing, and yet there's comments coming in.
Liz is new to this. I've been keen on creating something like this. Never had a reason to until now. Creating something like this for years. I mean, you've got the technology right now to be able to make a TV studio in your house.
Yeah, Harry's like nuts and all this sort of stuff. I'm, not very good on computers and stuff, so I'm definitely the Harry, come and help me type person. So Harry's just been upset today because we broke some lights. So I'm a bit nervous that I'm going to smash one of the last lights in the room.
Oh, yeah, dude, you be careful.
Bottle.
Put your hand on it straight away.
Okay,
Whoa. Why am I opening my... Oh, goodness. There we go.
Nice.
Perfect. Sounds fantastic. Okay, so do we have this open? Let's get the correct screen open, which should be... Hang on, I can just open it on my phone. That's going to make it a lot easier. What is... Yeah, so... back to you guys. Let's see what's been happening. Been off before writing in the UK, writing in the Snowies. You ask for what you want to see as well. If you want to see upcoming clips or talk about old episodes or tell us a bit about yourself, that's fantastic.
Can we make this bigger?
Yeah,
because we can only
you
see
can
like
be in charge of this.
I want to see more of what people are saying.
Yeah. I just got that in the wrong. There we go.
Like over this way.
Yeah. We're working on it. So.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
Nice.
Who's the most
crazy of you two? Are you joking? Who's the most crazy?
Depends. I think I'm like, I make sense, but I get exuberant. I do get exuberant and sort of, I have like a boyish enthusiasm for parts of life, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's definitely the case. I think we're both a bit stupid, but yeah, I think you're next level crazy. He's like, he went to university to do drama, so he's like, I did kind of person.
I did unicycling. I did acro combat, so like, that tissue where you climb down from the ceiling on a bit of fabric. Did that. Juggling fire, breathing fire, and I was getting university marks on it. And then I went off and I was a Bollywood actor for 5 years. Diversity would be my main thing. Like there's an experience. I'm like, I want a bit of that. I'll do that. Oyster farming, sure, yeah, why not? Market research, wedding planning, anything. And I do think that it makes me seem a bit crazy and unhinged. People are like, what does that guy do?
Yeah, fingers in lots of pies, right?
I finger all. No! The pies. Were you guys gearing up for a Right World trip? Is that on hold until next year or push forward? Yeah, g'day, mate. Definitely not push forward. I just don't think it'd be possible, but I do think it would be fun to head out dangerously soon or interestingly soon, because then it could become a sort of documentary of what it's like as these different cultures get back on their feet, how they encode, how they talk about COVID. Does it become a religious thing? I think it would still open up, because I'm mostly interested with this channel, and this is going to be a real disappointment to some of you, with turning it into a discussion about a discussion with people, not just about the bikes. But that'll take an evolution of about a year now.
Yeah, that was more for when you're traveling to go and... Because I think whenever I watch travel stuff, the bit that I always love about it, obviously I like them doing all the nice roads, but also whenever they meet someone random and have a chat with them, I always think that's this really interesting insight into the world. But yeah, I think, who knows when... I mean, Australia-wise, currently they've said they expect... So we're on lockdown, basically lockdown. Things are, you can still go to work if you need to go to work, but they say if you don't need to leave the house, then you shouldn't.
Yeah, you're hearing stories about people getting asked where they're going and why they're going there.
A guy got a fine for eating a kebab.
Did he really?
Yeah.
You could have made that kebab at home. They don't do it the same.
Oh, it was so good. It was like the one of the guys in Queensland, the minister was like couldn't keep a straight face when the news reporter was saying, "Oh, what about this guy who went for a run and then had a kebab? Is that illegal?" And he just couldn't get through the fact that he was like saying that's not illegal, but what's going on here? Why are people getting? So no, at the minute they're saying Australia's doing pretty well.
G'day, Jersey.
But they're expecting it's going to be like this for at least 6 months, and that means that the borders are likely to be closed for at least 6 months. So if the borders in Australia are likely to be closed, then I think it's going to be the same basically everywhere. I mean, they talk about when we get a vaccine, but
there's a good chance there won't be a vaccine available.
Who knows there ever will be a vaccine?
Isn't there meant to be already multiple strains of it?
Yeah, exactly. So you just don't know at the minute. You can only wait and see what happens.
We've got one from Facebook. How do you like the Enfield now?
Oh, let's come to that in a second. Let me just quickly finish.
Yeah, sure. So beg your pardon. Oh, sorry. Beg
Technical.
Yep. Good go.
I think probably what will happen before the borders open is that they'll at least let people go about in Australia again. So it might be that we do a bit more traveling around Australia while we're waiting for that to happen. You know, I mean, Australia is huge. There's so much to the place. So there might be something like that, but you just can't tell anymore. We're definitely going. Just when? Yeah. Is a big question.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting decision to have to make. The whole world's going to be very different. I think borders are going to be different by the end of this. So it would. I kind of want to go out and see some of that though. Like of the opportunities to see the world at its most interesting, soon will be the time. You know, my dad went to Pakistan just before it turned into the craziness that it was. He was like, "Let's go there," and I was like, "I'm doing the HSC, Dad." So he took my two brothers and they got the full robes. They went and fired AKs in the mountains. They went and bought guns at these markets. Like my dad gave me that thirst for going to interesting places at interesting times. I think that's probably why we didn't take the bushfire seriously enough. Do you want to see some clips or talk about some clips or tell us a bit about yourselves, guys? What would you like to do? Hello from Melbourne, Victoria. We've got Jersey from Woking, I'm guessing, in the UK. G'day, Jersey. Woking's really nice. There's nice writing all around the UK. And welcome from Melbourne, Victoria. G'day, Glenn. And we've got Claire. She wanted to know, how do you like the Anfield?
Well,
big news.
Yeah, so you probably saw a month ago now. I'm speaking into this one, I've got my own.
Yeah.
You probably saw about a month ago that I did the selling the bike video, which did so well. There's almost 100,000 views we got on that video, which was crazy for us. And I sold the bike about a week ago.
It was a lovely guy too, wasn't he?
Oh, so nice, so nice. Was he called Sam?
Oliver? No.
Not very good. What was he called? Anyway, he was a very cool guy. And he came up and he hadn't even seen the video. So he came up and like, "Oh, you saw the video, so you know the..." And he was like, "No." So he came up, looked the bike over.
We were like, and he just sort of stood beside it, looked at it. We were like, "You haven't seen the video and you're ready to offer money on this bike." Yeah. He just seemed like such a legend that was like, we came back and said it. Sorry, I cut into your story.
No, that's fine.
Go. I'll get up the thing, because if we're going to do a multiple hour long thing, we definitely want to show this video again.
What was his name? Simon, that was his name. So yeah, so he wanted a bike to go and...
Hang on. Oh. Go on, you go.
He wanted a bike to go and travel Australia and put his surfboards on the side, which sounded awesome. So he's like the perfect guy to take the bike. So yeah, oh God. It was the most us thing that ever happened as well, though, because...
Oh, I forgot this bit until you started saying that.
So I hadn't used the bike in like a month. I just left it and, put the advert up and rode it, that's not far from us, to do the video, and then parked it back up. didn't think anything of it. And in my head I was like, I don't want to ride it because I don't want people to get this pretend, I've kept it warm. I want it to be the bike as it is. And there's no problems usually with the bike. Oh, from Northumberland, that's where I'm from. Anyway, so I thought, I won't turn it on, I'll leave it. So then he comes to check out the bike, and he's like, okay, I'll go away, I'll watch the video, and I'll think about it. He watches a video, he thinks, I love it even more, it's got character. It definitely has character.
It does. Let's talk about individuality.
Individuality, yeah. And so then he comes back, and he's like, I'll buy the bike. So I give him the key, I put the panniers on. Nothing. Bike's dead.
No, it does. It kind of jig.
Yeah.
It wasn't completely dead like mine was in a couple of episodes.
Yeah, the battery is completely flat. So, it's like, do you still want to buy the bike? Are you sure?
I asked him that. He was like, so what are we going to do? And I was like, well, do you still want to buy the bike? Because you never buy a bike that doesn't start. And he was like, can we get it started? We're like, yeah, we can roll start it. Like, we do plenty of that. We kill bikes all the time.
So
I want to make our face not on screen because we keep wanting to look at ourselves, and then you're like, I'm in a mirror. I'm going to put the chat in front of our face. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay. So, so the last thing that I saw of Pooja was him, like, legs either side of it, like, running it down the hill and away from us to start it.
Sydney CBD.
And then, so he goes down the hill and around there, so we start walking back to our flat, and then I just sort of looked around behind us, and he's kind of looped back around to get to the bottom of the hill, and there he is, running across the junction, trying to start it again. So he did start it after that, and it was fine, and he actually, he ended up buying a new battery, and we took $100 off just so we could get the new battery, but it was so
so sad we didn't film it. We only got the tiniest bits of it.
Yeah. That would have been a good episode.
Fall out of your chairs a few times. So Claire's gone. Can you both dramatically fall out of your chairs? So I know I'm watching a Riding on Eggshells video. Awesome. That's getting the comment of the stream so far.
Someone else said that before. It's, we don't fall that much, do we?
Do we?
No, once or twice.
We're just also determined to show every one of it. We're like, we've got to get that crash. Is there a crash we've missed? Oh, maybe there's a couple actually. There's a few, certainly from the original one. I forgot some.
Yeah.
What Cedric's come and said here is what I do like with your ride is it in a lot of sealed highways, lots of backcountry, sometimes even too rugged for old lists. Yeah, I was always about filming 100% of stuff. If I were to show you some of the folders I've got of just thousands and thousands of hours of stuff from back in the UK, whereas we're hitting so much dirt now, Liz has been like, I'm just not going to switch on the camera until we get to the good stuff. Because sitting on the highway, like, no wonder people die.
Yeah,
so boring.
Well, especially. Actually, I didn't even finish the question of what do I think of the Enfield. I got so sidetracked on selling it. But one of the things with the Enfield is it doesn't really like speed. In fact, your bike doesn't like speed really so much.
No, it does like those twisties. When we hit those twisties, on the way to is it down that sort of river run along to Wollombi, I think it is. I forget the name of the road. I got to find it. It loves that and it grips to it, but it doesn't want to do 120. It gets to 90 and goes, yep, this is about as much as I need to do.
But so no, we try and avoid as much of the tar as we can, unless you got to get somewhere quickly. Like Australia, because the place is so big and not very populated. So all around, there's just, you can ride an hour that way, and there's incredible rides, ride an hour that way, ride an hour that way. You got to ride an hour because you're in the middle of Sydney.
It's just nothing in between for that hour.
Yeah, but there's just so much choice. There's so many rides. There's so many groups that go and ride, and you can ride all year. It's a perfect place for riding. And then you're constantly getting the people back in the UK. Like, only now is it really getting to the weather in the UK. Like, I feel for you guys back home. Only now is it getting to the weather that you can ride, and you're all just stuck indoors, which is typical, isn't it? Hopefully people are allowed out before winter comes back.
we sent a message saying, hey, you want to try? Yeah, sure. It's all nice to do that. Hey, well, I'm already going to have to ride on this paper. And he's like, it's not problems.
I presume so. I think we're three blind people being just hoping that we see someone. Someone had gone ahead, eh? We had seen people go ahead.
Them down there. And most of the time, this is I'm not used to it. It's fishy and sometimes I'm like,
Video, audio. Ben stopped.
oh, but it's too much. I see. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that feedback.
Sorry, guys.
Really useful to tell us that. Keep it coming as well. If you want to watch different stuff or switch to the main screen or something, we don't know how to do this. This is a totally new medium, you know, because you can put just screen. I've been setting this up for hours.
So we were saying we did the ride with Sydney Adventure Riders, and not because of us, although I was quite happy to have to leave them, but we had a friend who was really struggling and fell over a few times, so we went off. And then, so I didn't want to ride with them again because, God, they really power around the corners. And you feel that, even though they're saying, don't go fast, you're fine, whatever, you still feel that pressure to keep up and not slow them down, really. It's their weekend. So, so Harry had gone, I'm going to go and meet up with Wayne Dowson. So, okay, that sounds great. Love his videos. He's that same sort of crazy that Harry is, actually. If you watched any of his videos. Then we get there and it turns out we're thinking, there's going to be a few of us. We turn up at where did we start?
The ferry, Wiseman's Ferry.
No. The one with Wayne.
The one with Wayne
at the pub.
Started at the Pete's Ridge
yeah.
Cafe.
And there's 20 of them. So we're riding with 20. It's like, where are you from? Oh, Sydney Adventure Riders.
We're with them again. Oh, this is not good. Going to end well. Hang on, we've got some comments here. Can't hear you, only audio from the video. Yep, thank you very much, Scarlett.
Oh, is that better now that we've reduced the volume? Just someone tell us if it's still a problem.
Yeah, that's the last one. Anyway, they're listening to your story. Keep going with the story.
Yeah, okay.
So we were nervous about.
Okay. If we see anyone saying it's still too loud, then we will turn it down. But yeah, this is the group, right? In the video now. That's how many we were riding with. And look at all the bikes they're on. Nobody's on an Enfield.
KTM 690s. Those things just do not want to go. They want to go zero, or they want to be like, I'm going to launch you into the air. So many of these bikes, these guys are really good. Some of them, they were just, you might see it here somewhere. It's just a straight up enduro bike.
Doug says he can't hear you.
He can't hear me. Oh, have I muted myself? No. I've turned my voice down very low, so I don't, because I'm aware that I speak up and over
He's
this.
a lot louder than I am, so he puts it down. Okay,
because she
perfect.
mumbles into
Keep
the microphone.
letting us know if there's problems.
She mumbles. I'm just like, what? Everybody's always like, your communications devices work so well. I'm like, no, because the videos would be utterly boring if what always happened. Where I go, Liz, what do you think about blah? And then Liz goes, I think the first. I go, what? And I got up and have to say, what, like 3 or 4 times? We should have taken the turn back there. so there's pros and cons to being a mouthy bastard or a mumbler.
Yeah. So we went with these guys. There's a good video of going for this ride, and they're riding so fast, and I get, I'll keep up, I'll be fine. And then, where is it? Is it here?
Oh, I think is it coming in the next one? Hang on.
Magnificent crash. Absolutely magnificent crash. I think we put it in the selling video.
Yes. Oh, more rigor. I found that one. G'day from Alaska. Welcome to us, Alaskan Archer. Oh, you do a bit of archery. I got a compound bow and a recurve.
His name is Archer.
Yeah, he could, but he's an archer. He's got archer stuff on his channel. Let's check. Can we? No. Oh, don't block user. You carry on.
Yeah, so we went for that ride, and it's probably the first time I've had a high-speed crash. I was going pretty quickly, saw this log, absolutely focused on it. I say log, stick.
Oh, well, no, it was a big one.
And Yeah, went for a massive tumble. You probably will remember it from the video if you watched it from the advert. Harry's just trying to find it now. And after that, I am in a foul mood. I'm in such a bad mood. I'm
You're
like
crying
in the
and
headset. I'm like, I can't believe we've come out with Sydney Adventure Riders. They go too fast. I don't want to come on this ride.
I didn't want to come here. And it's like once we've gotten to the bottom of this, or like the top, over this incredible ridge, and it is just all complete. Oh, this is not the one I meant to show, but I did want to show that later. That's pretty good on a DR650. Can I show that again? This is on a big DR650. We're getting to your one in a second. All right. With my waggly.
The waggly headlight. It's never in right, that headlight. Yeah, so I'm crying almost. And then we finally hit the slow bits where you can't race around, where you have to take it more. Oh my goodness. The most fun I've ever had on a day trip. I had such a good time.
She was glowing by the end of it.
Ah, we haven't got up to that bit on the video, but if you do check out Wayne Dowson's channel, it was one of his videos. I can't remember what episode
Is this
it was,
it?
but a while ago.
I think this is it. Here
It's
we
on
go.
your
Let's
square
cut back
one.
to the main screen so people can see the full size.
Well done on 3,000 subs. Hello from Oxford. Cheers, buddies. Insight.
I think it's after this. All of this stuff looks very similar, but it's quite... No, it's a bit further on. I want to scrub through and find it, but I don't want to ruin
It's
it.
a square clip. It's what your square
Yeah, this is
clip.
a square clip.
It's not a square.
Oh no, this is... But this is... this is your screen.
Oh, right.
Okay, yeah, it's after this. We have that big meeting. And it's the very next clip. Okay, yep, you keep talking while I find it.
Yeah, so can I check back on another question?
Yeah,
Because I've-
sure. We should put that on another screen, shouldn't we? Here we go.
Thank you. So, what else we got? Wayne BSF, another Alaskan. What's with all the Alaskans? I
Oh,
guess
Raju
it's
bullet
probably
surgery.
just
We'll
about
talk
the
about
only
that soon.
place in America that people are still awake, probably.
Yeah.
Living in
maybe.
Australia is a nightmare for times. You
It
try and
is.
see how are we going to get the people in Europe and get the people in America.
And not be at ridiculous o'clock in the morning.
It's crazy. So yeah, we ended up going 5 p.m. is a nicer time for us, and it means that we can get everyone in Europe in. Wife and I both ride GS650 and GS850. Roads are finally dry enough to ride. Yeah, in Alaska though, you must have quite a short riding year. It looks beautiful whenever I watch it, but God, yeah, you must
Yeah,
have
it
to hang
looks
up the bike
chilly.
for so long.
Especially, I mean, you need hand warmers and guards. And would you use heated gloves in Alaska? Because it doesn't matter how much I did. Mind you, I went through over the Himalayas with just ordinary like gloves on.
Nothing on the screen.
Nothing on screen, fam. Oh, of course, yeah. I switched the screen to show the bike advert, and then I didn't mean to close that. Here we go, back to Collapse Chats. Thank you very much for letting us know about that as well. Oh, here we go. Now we've got the chat back. Oh, this is so difficult. What was I meant to be finding? Let's just play this while I try and find it.
Are you in the market for a used Royal Enfield Himalayan, but you're finding that everything that you see is too expensive? People have been taking too good care of their bikes and there's no good deals to be made. Because people taking good care of their bikes means you pay more. This is Pooja and I haven't taken good care of her at all. So compared to other bikes, she is a total piece of... Should he have got bark busters? Probably. But bent brake levers and busted bar ends just save you more money. Most people when they pick up a new bike are scared of that first drop. This bike comes pre-drop for your peace of mind.
Ooh.
Harry has
Wow, that was spectacular.
The bash plate comes pre-bashed. And the crash bars come pre-crashed. Twisted handlebars? Perfect for the rider with one arm shorter than the other.
Himalayan.
Now with a free bride.
That's the best transliteration.
I know what you're
of this
thinking. You're thinking,
pronunciation I've
why
heard
would
in
I buy a
while.
bike?
I get so much stick about this Himalayan. That's probably the main reason I got rid of the thing. Just can't. People are just.
We want you to keep writing it, but we also want you to pronounce it differently. Pick one.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got all the chat back. So now I can just look at this message.
Yeah, now you can just look at your phone. I don't need to have it on the screen. That's a really good idea, actually. It's interesting. There's how many screens you've got. So I've got a question here from Neil about which I thought would give me a bit of story time with my first experience with the Himalayan. I keep going to say it the way she does, damn it. And that is, I was living in India. I decided I wanted to spend another 6 months in India, I beg your pardon. Or how long did you get? Yeah, 6-month visas, I think. So I did a visa run to Nepal. Now I was riding a bullet that I'd bought in South India in Kodaikanal in Tamil Nadu. So I got this TN plated bullet and rode it from South India all the way around the coast, up through Goa, up into Mumbai, which is a huge capital city. I got there and I'd been there before, but I got back there and I was like, oh, I want to do Bollywood. So I just did Bollywood and then went up to Nepal. And so he's asked this question about Raju's bullet surgery. It's mainly about bikes. For anybody joining in from Facebook, hello, thank you for coming. This is a Riding on Eggshells live. I'm just doing it on Facebook because it won't let me do it on the ordinary one. So if you came here to chat about something other than our failed world plans and riding motorbikes and stuff, you're welcome to, but that will be the focus from some of the stuff here. And so I went up to Raju's bullet surgery, which is what he's asking about in the Facebook chat. You're streaming now? What is this game? I'm waiting for the Raju bullet surgery live stream. Yeah. So I went up and I found this guy who fixed Royal Enfield bullets because they just break. It seriously never did it more than 200 kilometers without it. Or the headlight doesn't work. Oh, just keep riding.
That does sound a bit like your bikes anyway.
Fair point. Yeah, so and I spent 2 months with him learning how to fix it. So that's how I knew how to do some of those little bits on your Enfield. Yeah. That's why I already had an affinity for it. But it's just like a clown bike. When I sit on it, I'm like, there's about $300 in modifications to try to get it, lengthened forks. It's just, it's not built for my 6'3" frame.
I absolutely love it as a bike. I really do. It does have limitations in terms of, because we were getting onto more and more tricky tracks, like Harry likes to call them, tricky tracks. The Himalayan was having more difficulty. So just in terms of how heavy it is for manoeuvring. So it blew everyone away in terms of every time you would go on these tracks. Like we went on that ride with the Sydney Adventure Riders and they were all like, I cannot believe how well the Himalayan's doing.
Let's show another clip from that because it's intense what Liz gets up to.
Yeah, so everyone's always impressed with it. I'm always impressed with it. It really does keep going. But when you then decide to
I was saying it's my first high-speed crash.
I mean, the rider is a lot better on the DR650. But
this is right after your crash.
It's slightly
doesn't seem to want to go into first.
Go on.
Practical is the thing. So I love the bike. I think it's an incredible bike. I think as long as you're not planning to do properly sketchy, because I do think one of the problems that I had with it was the back end. When I'm going downhill, I've really struggled with that, and I think there's a bit of weight sliding. It probably is mostly technique.
Good technique would help, but and we have, because I know this is one of the main criticisms we've had, is Liz needs to learn how to slow down. I've got to be really careful about that because we get sometimes
people say that
a bit because she'll like we have conversations that range from humorous to quite intense on it, where Liz is like, I know, and I'm like, we're not putting that in the video, or we're not actually. I do try to record it, but I keep missing it. She knows about it, but it gets her stressed. And with most other things, like with log hops and stuff, she doesn't like to hit it again and again and again. Like she watched me for about 2 hours straight, not 2 hours, maybe about 40 minutes straight, just going log hop, log hop, log hop one day on the CRF 250. Liz is like, I'll get to a log, I'll psych myself up and I'll do it and then I'll move on with my life and I won't just pound away at that one. So she kept saying to me, I'll just practice emergency stops, as they come about. I'm like, that's the opposite. Log hops, you can stop before the log and go, it's a log time, whereas this is an emergency. Particularly because if you're as close behind me when you crashed, I don't know if you saw how quickly I had to haul on the brakes there because I wasn't sure which way everything was going to go and I didn't want to run over you. The crash wasn't so bad, but geez, getting hit by Harry on his DR messed her up.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a failing, I would say, but I do prefer to pick up skills by going and riding, putting some more miles on, and looking at each problem as it comes up.
Yeah.
And then you find that, you slowly just do get better, and that's how I prefer to learn. Yes, okay, it would be better if I just went and spent days doing the same thing, but it's such a punish. It's such a punish. So I find it really hard to get the motivation to do that, especially when we don't have all this time to go riding. We don't live anywhere that we can just go and ride the bike and do that. So you're riding, maybe a day every 3 weeks. So it just feels like I don't want to spend my one day stopping and doing these rides. Like you're a bit better, and you've got all this spare time that you'll quite often go off and do little days.
Yeah, because I work in such a patchy way. So there was one of the clips when we were trying to dump footage, so we had stuff to show you on this. I've got lots of odd days where I can go for a ride around Wollongong or things like that. Whereas for this, and the other thing is because they're just day trips, I can do it totally unladen and develop the skills with a light bike where Liz was then tackling that Christmas trip. It looks so flat on the GoPro, but she was just incredible, determined. She would just grit her teeth and go. And I think it's one of the things I think I like the most about you. She does puddle sometimes too. There's sometimes where she's like, nope, not doing it anymore. And just, you'll see.
Ray McCabe, I reckon Liz has done an amazing job, got a bigger set than me. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. I wanted to...
cheers, by the way, guys. There's quite a few people who are recognized from comments all over, and we get such nice comments. We love reading them. It's awesome.
Please keep them coming.
Ray sent a few before.
Let me just put up one because I wanted to answer one question about what was my first bike because I can show you my first bike. Started off with stock standard Royal Enfield Bullet 350 from 1992 or something like that, and I would have had it 15, 20 years later. So it had,
we both started on Royal Enfields.
Yeah, absolutely. And I eventually rode it all over.
Perfect beginner bike.
It actually is, I think, because it's not sporty and doesn't do a lot for you. I do think it's a great beginner bike, and I eventually took it to Mumbai where I wanted to modify it. So this is most of its way through its modification when I was going for a ride around Mumbai. I don't know, this is on my old channel though. Inside, overtake on the outside, it just doesn't matter. And that's why you got to develop, you got to be like, there could be a guy behind there, but if there is, I'll just wiggle and he'll wiggle too. And if everybody expects everybody else to just do crazy things, I was only wearing a helmet this day because that was the only way to attach this to my head.
He didn't have to put on a second horn. Like, no, this horn is not good enough for India, so I need to replace it with a horn from a truck. Right?
No.
So
a horn that sounded like a truck. It was an air horn, so it had a little air fan that goes and blows it past a kind of whistle. But it sounds like, so I could go one side and go meep meep, and then the other side I'd go and you'd have buses and stuff go, what was that? And they would quickly move out of the overtaking lane, and then you. It was great. I love that bike. I can stop that. Everybody doesn't need to keep saying that. Oh no,
so
this
at the very beginning of the chat, there was a guy called Steve Taft who says, hi from Melbourne. What do you guys actually do for a living? Love the videos. I'm pretty straightforward. So I'm not Australian, as you might have guessed. So I'm here on a working holiday visa at the moment, seeing what I think of Australia and, followed this guy. So I'm here doing accounting predominantly.
Accounting.
So I work in finance, which is super fun. Lots to talk about. I'm sure you could listen to 2 hours of live stream about finance. But I work for different companies for 6 months, and then I spent 3 months working on the farm. So I sort of dot about. But yeah, generally finance, working in companies, telling them how to spend their money. Telling them not to spend money really is what I tell them to do. That's about it. Yeah, not very interesting. Harry's is far more interesting, I think.
Oh, that's a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
I describe myself as a provocative speech and confidence coach in that I use humour and take the piss out of people. And this slightly what I think a style that does come off to many people who rightly say so in the chat, that does come off as verging on abrasive. Not nasty, never nasty, but sort of using this sense of humour and pushing people to speak differently. So I do communication skills training with companies around the world. Australia Post. I was at Qantas training Qantas flight attendants the day 20,000 got stood down or furloughed or whatever we're calling it now, and then had to run a training set. And I did well as well. I just to toot my own horn. These were people who were basically like, hey, you know that job you've been training for 2 months for? It doesn't exist anymore. And they were like shrieking and laughing and having a great day. And then the other trainers came back in and like, so how are you guys doing? Is everything okay in here? And they're all like, yeah, what? Oh, yeah, that. Yeah, that's, yeah. But it was, interesting time. So I get to do a lot of travel with that. And I do all sorts of, speak at events sometimes. Wrote a book.
Yeah, but both of us have now got a lot less employment, I think, because he can't go and meet anyone to train. And my 6 month is just coming up and there's not really any more jobs available. So we're about to have a lot more time for editing videos, which is great.
Oh, g'day, Bacon Tactics. Someone's here from Twitch. Bacon Tactics helps me, since mostly losing my job, I play a lot of Tarkov, and Bacon Tactics comes and joins me and tells me, like, piece by piece what to do. Like, here, go here, get to that draw, or that gun's better than this gun, here's what you should do, that's where you should go for the extract. It's fun. All these different people here.
So another question. So I'm going back to the beginning of the chat, because we missed loads. So Cedric Trounson says, before riding off to the UK, which we've already said is, now delayed, have you thought of doing a recce around the South Island of New Zealand?
That's a good idea. The problem is the West, expensive.
Yeah, it's super expensive.
Your trip just gets a lot shorter.
Yeah. That was
for
all our
every
thing
day,
is
it's a week.
We've gone, how can we extend the time we're in the cheap places and reduce the time that you're in the expensive places?
Yeah.
So already we were planning to, now that we're saying, we'll spend more time in Australia, it's because we can spend more time earning the money, hopefully. But yeah, I think, and the problem is that because we both plan to spend more time in Australia after the trip, it's that problem of, when the thing is right on your doorstep, you don't do it. You go and do the thing that's like, it's like
travel to another country
you
to
speak
do
to Americans and they're like, you must have seen so much of Europe because it's right there. And it's like, kind of no.
Yeah.
Went to Spain and France and Italy.
As you said, I think all you Australians are abrasive.
I thought all Australians were abrasive.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. He's also said, do you think or know that you'd be able to ride most of the tracks you've done on a slightly powerful or lighter bike like a CRF? We discussed that from the very start. I was like, take the CRF, I'll take the Enfield.
Yeah, actually, we've done an exact version of that test, which is on the farm. There's a CRF 250, which is the farm bike. And so we took a ride up to the hut at the top, so the highest hill you can get on the farm. It's episode 4 if you want to go back and look at it. And it was obviously at the very beginning of my riding. And did that ride on episode 4. Really struggled with it, obviously, because it was my first weekend I'd done any off-roading ever. But then I think like a month later we were back at the farm and because Harry didn't have, or we swapped the bikes around because Harry was carrying eggs. So I didn't feel comfortable. The Himalayan was packed down with stuff, so I didn't feel comfortable smashing the eggs, which we smashed anyway, I think, in the end. Never mind. So he took the Himalayan, and I took the CRF, and it was much easier. Yeah, I mean, obviously I was a better rider by that point, but even still, you can go, yes, this 250 is obviously designed for exactly this stuff. Obviously, the 250 I don't think is as practical for a round the world bike.
Oh, people round the world on the CRF 250L. I was considering it.
And didn't
I
Wasn't
wanted
that
to do it on the
UK guy who
450.
did Africa? Oh, what's he called?
Yeah, and he had a crash and broke his hand, and these people wanted
Yeah.
money out of him. That was a
Yeah.
great video.
Yeah.
Didn't show enough of it, but I mean, how do you get out of
He
camera
needs
when
to
people
make
are
more
harassing
videos.
you?
He's stopped
He
making
was,
videos.
yeah, he was good. They were good
I think
videos.
he was on a 250.
What was that guy? Carrying eggs like that episode of MacGyver transporting TNT in a Jeep on rocky terrain. Yeah, I can imagine it as a level in a game. I'm sure there is that level in GTA or something like that where it's like, careful, too many bumps and it'll go off.
It's like the moonshine or something.
Yeah.
We have on Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. There was this other one, what video editing software to use. We use Resolve. It is amazing. It is totally free, fully featured, and easy as hell to use. Because it's fully featured, there are a lot of features, so you do need to learn them. You've got to watch YouTube videos, lots of tutorials. I'll just stay up late into the night watching a YouTube tutorial on how do I get that to slightly overlay, but the audio to be,
We previously used
hit film.
HitFilm, yeah, sorry. HitFilm had been good, but we always struggled with, you couldn't do, there's a really frustrating thing when you use GoPros, that the GoPro films in one, you know how you get two sound streams, you get your left and your right? It only films in one. Or it films in both and then I can't remember how it is. Oh no, the GoPro has like an internal and
No, when you plug in a mic, it'll only come through the channel 1.
There we go.
So then you've got to say, give me channel 2.
See, I don't get the
I
technical.
spent hours and hours and hours and hours searching for the answer to that. I was like, can I pull out the audio? And it's like, yes, if you get another program, I eventually found a way, and it was the only way people on the internet said you could do it. You get another program, download the whole MP4, turn it into just a sound file, split apart left and right, throw away one of the channels because it's pointless, rename the other one as
And then
right,
that still didn't
and then
work.
put it, no, it did, but it was like, oh, great. So it's 40 minutes before I even start editing that clip. Thank you very much.
I can remember it not even work.
Oh,
But
maybe it
anyway,
didn't.
either way, it was a nightmare. So
Yeah, downmix to
were
mono
looking-
didn't exist. That's in
downmix to mono.
Adobe. That's fantastic. You just go bang, you just select all your clips and go downmix to mono. It's perfect.
So
Doesn't
essentially,
do it.
that's what the plan was to do. That's what it was telling you to do, is get this extra software that will let you downmix to mono. It's a real problem with what's it called, HitFilm.
Not
So,
just that, but every
we-
second thing you go to click on is like upgrade to the pro version.
Yeah. So we ended up getting rid of. We started looking for another one, and I was on. There's a Reddit. If you use Reddit, I'm sure lots of you use Reddit. Front page of the internet, you know. There's a Reddit called YouTubers, and it's just people's advice for if they're like, and a lot of it is talking about editing software and different stuff. I'd really recommend that if you're asking about video editing software, go and have a look at that subreddit, because there is lots of good advice. And they rave about DaVinci, and it is really good. It's good for color grading, although we're too lazy to color grade most of the time.
Oh, we do you like to do it every now and then on a shot,
Yeah.
whereas I'm always like, more red, more red, more red, too much red. Should I add blue?
Yeah.
I'm not good.
We're not the most professional, as people might have noticed with our things. But we have fun. We try and put a bit of character into
I
the
think we do an
videos.
okay job of editing most of them, except for the recent one I uploaded with 30 seconds of black silence at the beginning.
I think we go more for, we try and put comedic, like,
Pacing and-
pacing into how we film, rather than going, yep, this looks as good as it's going to look.
I was really struck by that 80% rule that, was it Qualia Soup or no, it's Nexpo. No, not Nexpo. One of these huge YouTube channels who makes Exerbia, I think it was, did this thing of like, I just go for 80% because if you're going for 100%, it's a tiny, tiny pinprick on a target. And how do you know, because tastes are different, that's going to hit? And how do you even know if you can hit there because it's so much harder? Get it to 80% and then just do it. And you'll learn through that and your target will actually move. And I think it's such a good rule to go by, which we're starting to tell ourselves now, which is just get it up on Wednesday. Don't go, we're going to do this fancy thing, do that fancy thing in the background, get it up on Wednesday. If you're lucky, I mean, if you don't need medicine to help you.
Someone said, I don't know what this means, so you might have to explain this to me. A guy called Andrew Porat. Hi, it's Liz, by the way. I
I've
get a
got
lot of
another comment
Lisa
from
and
Facebook as
Liz,
well after that.
and it's Liz with 2 S's, which is a stupid name. I regret it, you know. Someone gave it to me randomly. I used to be called Larry, and then a friend went, Liz, I'm going to call you Liz. And I was like, that's brilliant, I'll use it. And then obviously didn't think about it because now everyone thinks, oh, Liz. And like, no, that's not. So it's my own fault. So call me whatever. But just so you know. Hi, Liz from Berkshire, UK. Oh, no, he's Andrew. He's not saying Liz from Berkshire. Where did you learn to do such elegant parachute rolls? What does that mean? When did I do a parachute roll? The parachute roll is where you
Oh, it's where you land after
fall
parachuting.
and then you put your legs up, right?
You just sort of do a tumble as you land.
So when was my elegant fall?
You've done a few good tumbles.
Have I?
Yeah, the one at the beginning of the Christmas special, Quick Cuts, I think is a good roll. That's nice of him to apologise and say sorry, Liz.
Oh, thanks, Andrew.
That's okay. I think you also need to be really clear on when you say it to people. Go Liz and make a big point of it.
It's so weird if I do that. It's Liz and then stare intently at them.
No, but I mean, like, I'm helping you out, not say it right. Damn it! I'm helping you get this right.
Just change my name.
Could do, yeah.
It's
Larry. It could be Larry and Harry.
Larry and Harry.
Posty. Have we thought of running a Posty C110? I would love to. Is it Edward Marsh or something like that? Your falls are elegant. I agree with that. Who's it? C90 Adventures. That's it.
C90 Adventures is. I mean, everyone raves about
shelf. If I could get close to that kind of content, but up the pace, that's his main problem is the pace. I think if he uploaded more frequently, he would be tens of millions.
Yeah,
Campers.
That's campers is a thing about gaming. Isn't it?
I've got to also respond to Dave's comment about emergency stops. He says he hasn't practiced in cars. It's so funny what you tell people you've got to practice on a motorbike. And I get back in a car, I'm like, neither have I. And then I'm like, well, how do I know how quickly it stops or whether it slides or that? The main thing is feel it start to slide and then go bang off the brake and then be like, but you can then feel the wheels lose because you don't go down the moment your wheels lose traction. They stay going down and then it doesn't stay under your center of gravity and then it goes. But if you get used to this and you learn this on trials and I think anybody watching this who drives a car needs to know how to do this too. Just find an empty parking lot at some stage and see how quickly the vehicle stops. So there are some times where you go, no, swerve is better than the stop, where other times you go, I know I can stop before that kid, and know how to stop because if you lock up, your stopping distance will be further. Anyway, sorry, go on. I'm still trying to get a convinced list to practice.
Francois Pines has just said...
C90 Adventures.
C90 Adventures
Yeah.
again. Yeah. But I think C90 Adventures comes pretty high on anyone's list of what a good travel motovlog can be. So if you haven't watched it and you like our show, I mean, that they do some really good content, really, really entertaining. Not enough of them though. They're very few episodes.
It's hard because he does put so much into the editing where I would go, I do wonder how much you would lose, like internet comment etiquette as well. A lot of people say that about his channel, more frequency would help, but you don't like his stuff. I find it hilarious.
No, I like him. It just gets a bit of, I must have seen 100 episodes by now,
Tenzin said something here, and I'm trying to work out what it sounds like before I say it out loud, because otherwise this is somebody being like, we're going to get him to say something inappropriate. What do you reckon? How do you reckon you pronounce that? You go first.
Tashi Delek.
That doesn't sound like anything.
I don't know what that means.
Maybe it's hello in Turkish or something. It looks like Turkish, doesn't it? You answered my question the same time as I posted it. That's fine. Francois, thank you very much for joining in. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. It feels so lovely. I've got to respond. Yeah, no.
Sorry, just quickly, Philip. Yeah, Nathan the Postman. Yeah, he's great. He's great. You know what I like about Nathan the Postman? So he started doing a ride on the postie bike, Sydney to London. And now he's very much made that part of his character. He now does a lot of tours and things like that and goes and does trade shows. What I really like about him is he's very authentic.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have any bells and whistles on what he does, but you'll just sit and you'll just listen to him talk and I really like him. He's very, very likable. He doesn't post very much. You can see he's not in it to be, look at me. He's just, I think he's just trying to supplement the business that he's running, which is to do all these trips and stuff. So no, I really like him. It's a shame though, because he did the Sydney to London, but it was before he started doing a lot of the good filming. So when you actually watch the Sydney to London on the postie bike, you can have more. It's not, the best quality footage because it's the first stuff he ever did. But yeah, he's awesome. I love him. we watch a lot of different.
Yeah.
I remember when we first started the channel, people used to, especially because I have a Himalayan, so people would constantly go, "Oh, you should check out this little channel that you've probably never heard of. It's called Itchy Boots."
Oh my goodness, the number of people in the weird number of places.
Obviously, I know Itchy Boots. She's huge.
We've got
she's
cameras
awesome.
attached to our face. Yeah.
So what I do, I don't watch every episode that comes out, but I'll like bank them up and then I'll sit and binge watch like 10 episodes. So love her. I love Pedro Mota.
Pedro Mota's good fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was starstruck a minute ago. He did a live chat last week, and because I'll ask him questions and stuff constantly, and he never answers, and then I'm always like, oh, you didn't notice me.
Notice me, senpai.
And the last one I watched. Wait, oh, that's Dave.
Have you seen the babbling biker? Who are you talking about? I don't know. That person never showed their face.
So he was doing a live chat, and I asked him because he Pedro Mota, he's stuck in Buenos Aires at the minute. He's been traveling for about 6 years and riding a Transalp. Or really good if you like your off-roading sort of stuff. He's got some really good stuff.
Because he tackles unknown
really
roads. He doesn't check and mark it on a map. He's like, I think this one goes there. I'll try.
Yeah. So watched. I was asking because he's now in lockdown, and he was in lockdown for 2 weeks, and he's like, "Oh, I'll carry on after 2 weeks." He's planning to go down to Patagonia, and then they extended the lockdown for another 2 weeks, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get out of here in 2 weeks, absolutely." And then yesterday I saw the news thing, so I sent him a message going, "Is there nothing on the long-term outlook? Like, are you actually expecting?" And he responded, and he'd seen our videos, and
He said, "Oh yeah, you guys sold your bike, didn't you?" Oh no, I'm not able
that
to do
is
his
not
sort
a
of Dutch.
Pedro
He's got this beautiful accent. He's a really good-looking guy too. Like if you want to get into your motorbiking and you want to get a lady friend into motorbiking, introduce you to Pedro Mota and then just never travel South America and you should be fine. But if she meets him, big trouble, very big trouble. He's like a great-looking guy who's really like he's great at accents. I don't know why that came first.
Yeah, that's it's the same with them. Norley, the two of them, they know so many languages,
Yeah.
So they seem really pro. Whereas we'll go traveling, and it'll be that very very basic, trying to make yourself understood.
Yeah.
Like we'll be all right in India. I'll be all right in Thailand. Got a bit of France, so that should help us in Africa a bit. But
yeah, I'll be okay for India and Pakistan only.
yeah, otherwise it's going to be a lot of
But Indian people are worldwide.
speaking louder and slower.
But Indian people are worldwide, so I do think I'll be able to take me to your Indian restaurant and I'll chat with that guy. That guy will speak Arabic. I do like how Marhaban. I do like how you've always responded one way or another to comments about YouTube. I like the one way or another.
What do you mean one way or
I
another?
love having arguments online. Anybody watching on Facebook will know this. Any plans to ride South America? Glenn's saying this. Glenn is another person you should check out. Glenn Short is an old Bollywood friend. Ping us a photo and I'll put it up on the screen, Glenn, of us in Bollywood because he's always got them to hand. Who's been riding a terrible Chinese knockoff bike. Oh wow, it sounded racist when I said Chinese in that way, didn't it? I just mean like back when China first started producing bikes, they would regularly send them out with just no oil in them, parts missing, there was just no quality control. He got this bike and he rebuilt it and it was like, oh, how's that bike going? He's like, great, on my 5th engine. And he's done an incredible trip on it. It is
He's been
laden
going
down.
years.
Yeah.
And didn't he just say he's just finished the trip?
Yeah.
And
now
he's been going
compiling.
years. He finished the trip like a few weeks ago, and then all the borders get locked down. Coincidence?
Maybe Glenn did it just so we were trapped indoors to watch his upcoming forays. I'm out of focus. Why does it only like to focus on you? Should I go like this?
I think we're both out of focus, actually.
Are we? Let me go back to it.
Oh!
I can try and fix that. Here we go. Bang.
See, it shows it in one screen, and you go, yeah, we look good. It was so in focus, so sharp. And then it goes to another screen, and it's like, no, potato.
Now we're definitely out of focus. That is as in focus as we get. Yeah. This slider, I want to show you this on the screen. This slider has the option. It's a webcam, so it's mounted to the top of the monitor. So it's only ever going to be sitting at somebody in this chair, but it's got an option to slide that all the way up to there, because sometimes maybe you're going to want a shot of distant mountains with your webcam. Oh, some software is fantastic, but this is why you need more women in programming. Oops, I'm getting tipsy. Let's not talk about feminism just yet.
Okay, so
Okay, let's get the chat back up on the main screen too. Here we go. Have any sponsors approached you yet? We wrote to Suzuki and went, hey, come on, let's do something with the DR. Oh wow, Dave sent a photo of us on his TV. Oh, we're a TV show now. I mean, Dave's new room in his beautiful house in London. G'day, Dave.
yeah, we actually got onto a TV show with our episode.
Oh, we should show that. How do we find it? Can you find it?
I don't know what the TV show is. It's
Right this minute or
right
something.
This minute, yeah.
It's
And
just-
they sent us a thing of them having it was like a panel show of
It's a
people.
prime, I think it's a primetime free-to-air TV show that shows you some of the best clips of that day off the
off the internet.
internet. So they would just get it, they would shorten it quite a bit and go, that's hilarious, and then move on. Yeah.
Sorry, which I
Do I follow Races to Places? Lyndon Poskett, yep, absolutely. Watched all of, well, maybe not all of his stuff, a lot of his stuff. There was, forget why I didn't so much. It was some of the same thing, which I think if it just rests on motorbikes, it's not enough. You know, like some of the best moments I think between us, which is a weird thing to say, are moments of like emotional extremes. That the bike is almost secondary to it. It's not a character in it, but it is certainly the plot mechanism, if that makes sense. As you can tell, did theatre.
Yes,
Hi guys, your
theatre.
chemistry and humour make your channel unique and stand out from many of the others.
Aw.
And it's your channel, we're going to get sad. It's your channel that I recommend to others. Looking forward to all of your future escapades.
Oh, that's
that's
so
really
nice.
nice. Don't do that voice.
Yeah, that's so nice. I do think we
Glad it's out of
go about
focus
things
now.
exactly.
It's really nice to get messages like that. And it's
Um,
also, we've got to go through some of the other stupid messages too.
Yeah.
Yeah, nicely said, Philip. No, a bike is a means to an end. It's sort of, it's a vehicle. It's an interesting part of it, but it's not like, it's me and Layla, it's me and Liz and the people we meet. But the bikes are
I do definitely think that the bike becomes a character. You know, people will refer to the bike in the name that you give it. You know, and as if it's personified. Not on our channel necessarily, but on other channels. You know.
yeah.
Yeah. What was it?
There was also talking about C90 Adventures. I think we also want to do some snips from upcoming shows. So why don't you do some padding and storytelling while you get me to find a clip or vice versa? Or did you have something else you wanted to say?
No,
Because I thought we wanted
that's
to
what I'm
change
like,
up what we're doing.
What's my padding going to be? What am I going to talk about?
Will you tell me what clip they want to see? Because I think some of that stuff from the Adventure Riders ride with Liz really tackling some tough terrain could be an interesting one to look at.
I was really proud of that ride.
You did so well. It is just difficult to describe how this was treacherous terrain, and there were dudes of all shapes and sizes, guys on enduro bikes, and there were regular guys on KTM 690s, all of the gear, tall like me, you know, male, upper body strength, bone density, all of that stuff, and they are like, we are physically pushing them up this hill, and we're like, our feet are scrabbling around, and he's toppling over one way or the other. Liz comes to it, sure, maybe one or two people, but it's like one hand on the back of her thing, just going, there you go, like, almost like a pat on the bum as you go up the hill. There were some bits where you were just plowing through, way better than some of the dudes on all of their bling.
No, some of the hills I needed some good pushing. There was it was so funny because we're at the bottom of this hill, so a group of 20 people, and you will ride along and then you'll get stopped because everyone will have been stopped at this obstacle, you know, or like a tree down or a really tricky hill to get up that needs some support. And there was this one hill and I'm at the bottom of it and people are trying to get up and I just look at my wheels and my tyres need replacing at this, you know, they're getting to the sort of last bit before you want to put tyres
And
on.
they're only 80/20s anyway. They're mostly on road with a tiny bit of knobble to them.
Yeah.
These other guys are on enduro tires with sort of spiky fingers coming out of the.
So we've gone through some sand, so the sand is just like packed into all the tires, so there is just nothing. It's like I'm trying to get up this hill that people are all getting help going up, and I'm basically on slicks. So this is one bit, and it's a great picture that
Let me find it.
it's a great picture that Wayne took, and it's him at the top of the hill just looking at me, and there's like 4 people like helping me get up this hill because of all of the sand. It's so good. It was such a good day. That video is not far away. We've probably got next week's video, which is, if you watch this week's,
Will be the
we
last
got
of
to
the
the top
Christmas
of-
trip. We have been stretching it a bit, but that day for us was, it felt like a week. That day getting up that mountain, I was trying. I had to work so hard to keep myself in a positive frame of mind. It's that thing as a couple, isn't it, where you balance one another, where like you recognize you're like, they need me to be in a good mood right now, so I'm just gonna have to make it happen.
that hill,
And you did too.
That hill, I don't even know if we properly captured. This is the last 2 episodes, if you've been keeping up, have been us climbing this hill, getting to Davy's Plain, and we were planning to ride over the hills to
Sorry,
the
just a
south
second,
to go to Dargo, which is close to Melbourne. And it was such a challenge. So we had foolishly got this book that was 4x4 trails in the high country. So the high country is the mountains in Australia, so Kosciuszko and all that sort of stuff. And so I took the colours as being, they have green runs, blue runs, black runs, and black double diamond runs. And I thought, okay, green runs. We've done all these green runs with our other book. They're easy. So and we've done a couple of blue runs before. So then this one was a blue run, this hill. So we thought, oh, great, blue run. And then we got there, and there's a sign going, double black diamond at the thing. And I don't know why, but we just, okay, well, it's fine. It probably doesn't mean anything. I'm sure it's blue. And
It's in all probability, right? It's the most likely reason it says double black diamond is that it's a lie.
it was a real struggle. Really like good fun when you think about it in retrospect, but at the time it was like 40 degrees. We didn't have enough. We ran out of water by the time we got to the top. We'd brought 4 cans of Coke, thank God. We kept stopping to have more Coke. Oh, we were in such bad moods. The clutch started slipping, so we had to adjust for
I wasn't even thinking, but afterwards I was like, of course it's gotten hot. Why wouldn't it not slip?
Yeah.
We could have just sat there for 40 minutes and hit that hill again.
Yeah.
And we might have ended up down in Dargo. But then we could have been trapped in Dargo until well after New Year's Eve.
Yeah, exactly.
It was incredible how fast those fires were advancing.
And that was the thing as well. So when we did the
Here we go. I think I found a clip of Sydney Adventure Riders. Let me just see what this does. That's it. This is me on it, though. Sorry, it's kind of hard to let the chat be up at the same time, so you're going to watching this. My camera's pointed down the whole time. That's right. Filmmaker extraordinaire. Didn't you want to see what my feet look like? Not what he was doing up there. No, you wanted to know where I was standing. Genius. DOP extraordinaire.
That's because you had it on top of your head, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't notice it had been bumped down.
Camera.
Yeah, my
New
GoPro
helmet.
chin mount wasn't ready yet. Chin mount, superior mount. All the
Yeah,
mounts are
so
inferior mounts.
what was I saying about being on the top of the hill?
Sorry, I did interrupt.
Yeah, so we were at the top of this hill, and obviously this is New Year's Eve, and I'm not sure if you do remember, but New Year's Eve was an absolutely catastrophic. Well, this was the day before New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve was a catastrophic night for the bushfires, like much worse than anyone had predicted. So before we'd settled down for the night, had looked at, it shows in the video, I'm looking at fires near me, and all you can see on fires near me is them going, there's a bit of smoke over here, and that's what it gave. It gave the big wide area, and it gave a warning going, look, this area, you may have a bit of smoke. And it's like, well, we're going to head off anyway the next day. Woke up in the morning, I mean, there's ash on the tent, And then as you come down the hill, it's just getting more and more like, you know, the, what do you call it? The apocalypse or something.
Yeah. My favourite topic. There's been two apocalyptic events I've been waiting my whole life.
But what had basically happened is, Harry's put up, is this on the screen now? Is that gonna be on the screen?
Yeah, that's on the screen.
So
that's
in the
Melbourne
night.
though. That's
No,
Melbourne.
that's not it.
That's not the Corryong fire.
Corryong versus Melbourne.
Right.
So basically, the Corryong fire had been just in Corryong when we looked at the screen, and the wind had been so so fast that it had done like an arrow, a dart all the way through the mountain. So it was the most narrow fire line, just coming to a point right at the bottom of the hill that we were at.
I'm Professor Gary Jennings,
it
Chief
was like
Medical
a beeline
Advisor at the
for us.
Harvard.
So it had travelled tens and tens and tens of miles, right to where we were.
Where
so it
are
was
we?
pretty
Paddy
scary.
River, Cabramurra. Okay, so we went over there. And then
No,
where
it's this
is-
one down here, isn't it?
It might be.
Because it's Cancoban, yeah, it's this one at the bottom
Okay, I'm
of the
still
hill.
looking. Keep padding.
Yeah, so it was absolutely, like, just much worse than anyone had thought it would be. We thought, you know, we're going to be away from any fires. There was basically no fires on the whole of the plains, on the whole of the high country, very small ones, up until the day before. And then out of nowhere, it becomes this absolutely giant thing.
We weren't riding into watch and act areas either.
No.
We were
No, there's
deliberately
nothing.
dodging watch and act areas. And watch and act areas are like, oh, look, it might be there in a day or so. Because there's nothing like the, what was it, the Black Friday fires or Black Saturday or something way back where they were traveling at 100 kilometers an hour and the fireys kept being like, you don't understand, this isn't like ones you've seen in your lifetime before. It's not that they're big, it's that they're fast. And
But it was so surreal. This 2020 has just been a surreal year.
Hasn't
because
it?
that was New Year's, just started in the most, you know, you're there in what we hold up in a hotel in Jindabyne.
Corryong, there we are. So this black one here, if I can zoom in on it. Sorry, or you can keep going. I don't mean to.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. So that bottom of that hill is, oh, what have you done?
Getting there.
So the bottom of that dart, the southwest area, no, southeast area of that dart.
So we can point at it now. So
You
we
can
were
what?
there.
Thank you.
I actually hit you in the head then.
No, it's literally at the bottom of the dart is where we were.
Yeah, right. That.
Yep.
Okay. So somewhere down here.
Just overnight, that came from above the Burrow
Yeah.
mark. It's crazy. But yeah. So yeah, that was absolutely nuts. That was nuts.
It was a beautiful trip. We were a
right.
little bit
And then
shook
it-
after it, weren't we?
Yeah.
Because we were having this discussion where we were like, were we really foolhardy then? Because I had set a bunch of rules. We don't want to take up anybody's time. So we still want to go on our trip. And everybody at that stage, it's a little bit like COVID, where you're trying to remember what your mentality was like before you recognize the enormity of something. And then you're trying to justify it based on new knowledge. Does anybody ever try to do that? Like you go, oh, so I learned this now, but my old morality still rested on this thing I only just learned just now. It's something
So
weird
is it
about that.
nobody expected it, and then obviously you get to New Year's Day, and everyone's like, oh, you got a lot of shit on when we released it. It's like, oh, well, what were you doing this? It's like, everyone was there having a holiday. It was not the only reason that we were meeting the people coming down who were going, oh yeah, we were coming down. We actually saw them again in the
In Jindy.
in Jindabyne, and the only reason they'd come down is because they were planning to stay up there for days. So they were like, oh, there's too much smoke. So there's planning to be too much smoke. So we thought we'll just sack it off and go down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only reason they'd gone down. So it just came out of nowhere. But yeah, it was crazy. Anyway, shall we
What's
get
your
back to
opinion on
some...
getting a bigger bike than the first one? I was checking on some 304cc Tribune with feels small for my height, 190 centimeters. How would you approach that? It's not about the cc of a bike will not affect its height. The CRF that I've got is a 250 and it is awesome, really good. In fact, if you want to get good off road, whatever you do, don't go big. I know the desire to go big. My first bike was a 900. I was like, oh, I got a bike. Oh no, sorry, my first bike was a 350 that was very underpowered. And then when I first got back into motorcycling after about 5 years out, I got a 900. I was okay because of the years of practice on the 350, and also you saw that if you were here before, I showed roads in India. It's just thousands of things happening in front of you at every moment. So I was already good with that. I wouldn't start on a big bike. If you want to go off road, you don't need it. You don't want it. The only time you can use it is on road, which is loads of fun, but illegal and deadly. Whereas having fun off road is safe and legal, and requires way more skills. And then you go off road and you learn what it's like when your tires, where you break traction. You learn what it's like when you wheelie and how you regain balance of the bike. And you go back on road and you go, oh, it's just child's play. It's easy mode now.
Is it the DRZ? Is the very tall bike?
DRZ was crazy high for me. I got on the DRZ 400E.
That's the
which is the enduro one. And you saw me, I was tippy toeing, and I'm 6'3". I'm about
So
your height, I think.
You can get tall bikes that are small CC, low CC.
Yeah. Don't get an Enfield or something that's too short for you. But some of the advantage of a short bike is if you're going off road, you just put your foot down and then you're just padding and you sort of learning more. Whereas if you're on a tall bike, the chance that you'll just tumble that many more times, you know.
The thing is though, like we do get people in the comments, because Harry will say this, that the bike is too small for him, that the Himalayan, and you get people in the comments who will say, look, I'm 6'4" and the bike is perfect fit for me. All I would say, like for Harry, it definitely isn't. You know, you see him on the bike and he is really crunched up, but I guess it all depends on your riding style. You know, I think, or on how you carry your 6'4".
Yeah.
So for some people, they can ride it very.
Yeah.
Some people can ride it very happily, and people have said that. But yeah, if a bike feels too small, it's not going to be.
I plan to go mostly on roads. I plan to go. Yeah.
Off-roading here is not too well fitting, but thanks for your opinion. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So then go for whatever bike you want. All I would recommend for on road is ABS, because if you don't have that sense of when your front wheel is losing traction, it will save your life. There'll be one incident where you go, that would have been me, without ABS. Yeah, right. Fair enough.
Yeah, legs. So legs, exactly. That's the problem I think that Harry gets, is the legs get bent around too much.
Yeah.
So there was a question before that, which was about the camping. Where is it? What camping gear? So Dara McMahon.
Yeah. What camping gear do you use, and can you do an episode on it? Yeah.
So.
You already shot one, didn't you?
Well, no, I didn't shoot an episode. I shot bits to go in. You know, the first time we went camping, because we went to
Kiama.
Never.
She always fancies up Australian town names. I feel like we need to do hit the chat. That's what we can do to make this more interactive. Hit the chat with Australian place names, and we will do a did she get it right?
I like Geelong.
Geelong. She always tries to make it fancy. Oh, it's surely like Geelong tea. It's like, no, it's Geelong.
So this is possibly part of the reason that I say Himalayan, you know. Yeah. But Australian names are so hard. They're all like, it could be, no, it's not that way. Okay.
So what about this one? Happy Science Guy conversation in that one episode.
We were talking about...
thank you, Catch.
Yeah, thank you about that.
That's exactly the kind of content I want to make. So keep those comments coming, because I've only got so much motorcycle.
He was an interesting character
as a guy,
and he was actually
so
really lovely.
Yeah, and
but could talk your ear off. Absolutely talk your ear off. You try and get your. I just want to say one thing, and that's Harry talking to him. Harry can butt into any conversation.
Butt right in. But
he couldn't. He was struggling to get in there. But God, yeah, it was interesting talking.
Hang on, we've got a comment from Sean.
Wait, no. We're finishing the camping one. So, Kiama, right? We did the camping trip at Kiama, and we had to buy so much stuff for that. So we bought a tent, we bought sleeping bags, blah blah blah. Like, I had camping stuff in the UK, but it didn't get brought to Oz. So, we basically bought everything new. So I had done a bit of here's the thing that I've got and here's the thing that I've got, but oh God, all new screens have come up.
Yeah, just ignore me.
I guess you start like putting it into the clip, and then you're like, okay, this isn't the most interesting thing that I could have put in a video, and you sort of second guess yourself from talking about it. But the gear I've got like the cheap version of stuff because I kept thinking, oh, I've got my stuff in the UK.
Because Liz used to do a lot of cycle camping, so she'd go cross country riding. Wouldn't you, riding your bicycle with two panniers? We've got somewhere here.
Yeah, I used to love going on the bicycle. You can't really do that in Australia. The distances are just too vast.
Yeah.
But so I've got all the cheap stuff. So my sleeping bag's like twice the size. I've got like that really crappy, like, oh, have we got it here? The blue roll mat.
Oh, it's taken a battering too. This thing has been utterly destroyed.
Look at that.
By
It's just in pieces.
and covered in bits of drink and whatnot. It's
So I
splashed
went
on
for
by the
real
river.
cheap stuff, thinking I'll get my proper stuff back when I go to the UK, which is now not happening. No visit for my dad's 60th or anything like that.
Yeah, that's Glenn's photo I asked for before. I thought I'd show you all him in South America.
He looks cool, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's done a lot of travelling on that bike. I'm sure he's got another photo of him in there, but I won't show my whole screen to everybody.
Yeah, so... Oh, what was I halfway through talking about?
There we go. There's the Bollywood photo. This is me in a film that you can actually find somewhere, I believe, called Himara Tiranga, where I was the lead villain. So I was, as you can see, quite a young chap. Actually, there's a show icon. Can I show that one while you think about what's coming next?
What, Parasi Raja?
No. This is Himara Tiranga, yaar.
Oh, the music video is so good.
Oh, here we
Harry's in a
go.
music video.
Shabash. Oh my goodness, here's the whole film. Oh my goodness, it's the whole film. Somebody, you can always rely on somebody.
No, it's not really the whole film. I bet it's just a lie.
It is a lie, you're right. That's not the whole film. It was a lie. The cake is a lie.
What was I halfway through talking about?
Camping gear.
Camping gear.
See, you're allowed to distract people if you can take them back.
Yeah. I constantly lose track of things because Harry will start a conversation halfway through things and I'm just like passive aggressively like, nope, I don't know what I was saying anymore. We'll move on. Which is passive aggressive but also is absolutely true. I have no idea what's going on. So, yeah, we got all this camping gear, but I just don't think it would make a very interesting video. We did try, I tried to make it interesting.
Well, I think we can do a review series.
Yeah, I love the tent that we've got. I don't know what it is, but it's slightly too large for your panniers.
Do you want to see the sexy scene? Or do you want to see the mean scene where I'm a bad man? This is the bad man. This is the sexy scene. Sexy scene, bad man.
They're all equally.
G'day, Musclebrook.
Ridiculous.
G'day, Rod. We go near you a lot. We go through there all the time. Oh, that's right, because we passed you in the car park, aren't we? You're the person that was like, I think I know those people from the... Oh, no, you saw us in the car park, and then you were like, oh, you found us on YouTube, aren't you? I remember you, Rod.
Musclebrook's on the way to the farm.
Okay, this is me being a bad man. Yeah. These are all the brave Indian men.
8 years ago. They already released it.
You know something. Oh, we're putting up the Indian flag. I made them put up the British flag.
ये जीत जीत हम सब की जीत है सत्यमेव जयते ये जीत जीत हम सब की जीत है सत्यमेव जयते
Where shit gets real. Sorry, stuff gets real. Yeah, they're so happy they're Indian. And then I turn up and I'm like, what are you talking about? Send the bad. Okay. So it's not as Oh no, this is me. Oh, so in this scene, I've got to beat people with the butt of my rifle, and I hit this. They patted it with foam. And they're like, just hit her. And I'm like, can we? I did acro combat in the first year, as I mentioned before. So I said, can we script out a scene where I go rifle strike to the right side of your face, or can I do it like this because I know where it's going to finish? Then it'll stop at the end of my arms. Whereas this, it's hard to stop it. And they were like, no, hit it like this. It looks better. And then I was like, can we do it? And they're like, we don't have time. Go, roll. And so I just hit her fair in the head with the butt of a rifle and gave her a cut on her eyebrow. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And like, Harry, you ruined the shot. You're not meant to suddenly start saying, I'm sorry, you broke character. And I was like, yeah, but I hit her in the head. And then they still made me finish the shot. I still ended up having to pretend whack this woman. And then afterwards did she get tended to and her face patched up.
Bollywood.
Yeah, there was one time a film went crazy with me on its back. Anyway, that we can go back to the main screen. I realised we hadn't gone there yet. Okay, we're getting tipsy. So back to riding on eggshells chat.
All right, so have you thought of electric bikes yet, or e-bikes? Oh my God,
Would.
Harry is obsessed with electric bikes.
I'm glad you just brought up that topic. Let's talk about electric.
I have nothing to say in this conversation. I have no knowledge of electric bikes or e-bikes, but for the fact that Harry talks about them all the time.
Because I have
He wants
long
an
wondered,
electric trials bike.
could I get? Yeah, I've been looking at the e-motion. Yeah, if somebody was mentioning before.
I'm going to use this time for a quick balloon.
Yeah, the Suron Light Bee as well. There's a bunch of really impressive electric bikes on the market, and one of the things I think is that Elon Musk was so absolutely right about was the need to look into the future and go. Because I think a lot of that, oh God, we're going to get political with stuff. And she's gone. You're with me now. A lot of the political view of the left is like, well, stuff the economy. We need to look after the environment. And it's like, if you put it as an either or, then you're going to make people pick sides and some of them won't pick your side. But if you go, the best way to look after the economy is if we get ahead of this E-trend and we start producing electric vehicles, because everybody's like, oh, it produces the same emissions. Emissions are produced somewhere else. A, incorrect. A lot of it's produced renewably. B, the emissions are protected a lot more. C, emissions heating up the planet is kind of scary. Emissions being breathed into your lungs it's like you keep shooting yourself. It's like you're complaining about guns because you go, gunpowder doesn't smell nice, and in like 40 or 50 years it's going to all smell like gunpowder. It's like, no, the bullets, like Dad used to put an exhaust pipe in his window, didn't he, if he wanted to expire. And then we put that at the back of a car and Mum drives away and we're like, bye Mum. just inhaling a bit of death, which is making, I think, city dwellers will overrepresent coronavirus.
On when I went to the toilet.
Did you wee loudly?
I'm so sorry.
Now you've done it. I did that too on the film set with that, which came out as a great film. I bugged myself as well, and I tuned into a conversation some other people heard. She's so red in the face. Look how red that face is. Yeah. Were you talking to yourself at all? Did you say anything? Mostly I was patting over it, saying insufferable stuff.
Oh, I'm such an idiot.
Welcome. G'day, subject
Sorry.
Novak.
Sorry.
How are you? What's your story? Yeah, tell us a bit. This is what I want to hear actually from some of our viewers, and that is, what is your story during isolation? Tell me something interesting, because every time I talk to somebody from a new industry, I'm like, oh, so this is what's happening in your industry, I'm guessing, and they're like, no, it's completely the opposite. I'm learning some really interesting things, like about mail delivery, about all sorts of stuff. So hit us up with what you're doing in isolation. For me, it's mostly computer games and trying to see if I can turn this into a way to run training sessions.
Some place names for Liz to try.
I know some of these. She's been to one of these.
Gullah Cuba. Like Cuba.
It's like Gullah Cuba, like Cuba. Excellent. All right.
One.
I'm going to put these on the main screen so other people can see what we're talking about. And it says this one is what she's just gone for. Next, she's going...
Can it go a bit bigger?
Can it go a bit bigger? No.
Yeah, that's all you get. All right, so now that I've nailed that one.
It can.
Gundi Windy. Gundi Windy?
Goondy windy. He's been drinking goon. It's got a bit windy. All right, what's the next one?
Wollabumbai?
I think that's a mispronunciation. I think that's a misspelling.
Wollombai.
Yeah, I think that's Wollombai. Because we travelled the Wollombai Road a lot.
Yeah.
That was cheating, though. She already heard that. And then what about this one?
Gnu. Like
All
a
right.
canoe.
I don't know these ones, but I will test my skill as well with them. And I will go for Gullagooba, Gundawindi, Wollombai, and Gnu.
You just said it exactly the same way I did, but with an Australian accent.
That's how you do pronunciation. Say it like they do. That's 100% of your job in this game.
I think I said
You
that
just
exactly
described.
the same as Harry.
You said. Oh, hang on. We're going to go back to it. You said Gulugaba. No, you said Gulagooba. You said Gulagooba. It sounds like Cuba.
History will record.
You said it sounds like Cuba. And then you said Gundawindi, not Gundawindi. Gunda Gunda.
Windy Windy?
This is the other thing that's so fun about it. I can tell Liz how to pronounce it, and she's still like, say the place with the blowhole. Say the place with the blowhole.
Kayama.
Yes! But history will also show earlier in this stream. Anyway, so let's do a different segment. Let's play a in which episode did we, or something like that, where we can do a giveaway of who wants. We've got some choices up here.
What is happening right now?
We're having. When we're going to do a thing where people are going to guess what episode something happened,
I
and
thought-
for that you get.
I thought you were joking when you said that.
Why would I be joking about that?
All right, well, do you want to win a
You can think of a question.
GR650 tank?
If you're wondering why the text back to front, because we flipped the camera, because otherwise this doesn't work. Left and right, you know. Do you want a DR650 tank? It's a fantastic centerpiece to a house.
And what is your question going to be?
You know that stuff.
I got nothing. You've
Oh, well, then talk about-
winded me.
Sidewinded.
Sidewinded? Side.
No.
Side.
What is it?
Here in Sweden, there is no isolation. About 80% business as usual. I keep hearing this. I keep hearing that, like, Sweden's getting the, oh, look at what Sweden's doing. They don't care.
They might have the right idea.
You're getting like what the UK had when the UK said, you know, herd immunity. You know, the internet like jumped on them, and now people are like Sweden. They're just not. They're not caring. It doesn't seem like it's doing that badly, Sweden, actually.
Well, but the thing with the coronavirus is, I think you're only ever reading.
It's so hard to know.
How come you never read your Instagram? Oh, we've had a question.
We got things on.
We've got a question also from Ian Outback, who says, I love your guys, but I just have to say one very impotent thing. It's good. I'm glad it's impotent, because if it's impotent, then I don't really need to pay attention to it, is it? Because it's not very valuable. It's not very going to be very effective, is it? That's what potency is, isn't it? Anyway.
Abrasive. You're very abrasive.
Thing I have to say, both of you, about your riding, and that is you always seem to coast your bikes downhill on the tracks, and then a capital lies.
Okay, you're not reading
wrong.
anymore.
Never do that. Just like a four-wheel drive, go down in gear, let the bike control your braking. You will find it like a four-wheel drive, go in gear, let the bike control your braking. We get a lot of this, like, here's what you should do next.
You'll find it so much easier to go down in hill in gear, not first gear, unless it's really very steep, but second or third gear. Try it, you'll find that it's so much better. Take care and stay upright. Just a little message from Ian. Thanks, Ian. Yeah, we don't try to coast. We don't try to coast. And Harry, I don't think ever coasts.
No, we just don't do that.
No,
So much of the
exactly.
advice we get is
No,
just
no.
totally wrong about
No.
either what we're doing or what we should do.
Wait, so Harry doesn't. So I sometimes do, because I get, especially when it's going very, very slowly, I get very scared about stalling the bike. And I struggle with I go into a panic situation where I worry that I'll do not be able to react quick enough to stop the bike from stalling. So I sometimes will pull the clutch in to go slowly down a hill, and I know that's the wrong thing to do.
Why would you pull the clutch in if you're in neutral, if this guy is correct?
Oh, is
It's just some people are incorrect. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make him a bad person, but it's incorrect, and that for some reason makes me cranky.
Oh, so he's saying I
You go down in neutral. Nobody goes down a hill in neutral.
Oh no,
It's-
I
but
don't
it's-
think I go down the hill in neutral.
It does get a bit, but some of the advice as well is like, oh, that's actually a really good thing to do. Let's start doing that.
Seems
that's
to be
just
working
incorrect.
so far. 10,000 cases and 1,000 dead, but still 10% death rate is very worrying. I think the UK is similar on that, but even more than 10%. But I think the UK is underreporting the cases, aren't they?
Yeah, no,
Because they're just saying stay in the house if you're not well.
But I think there's statistical
It's so hard
analysis
to
they're
look at the
doing on it.
numbers and know really what's going on, because
We're
people are
looking-
treating it very differently.
And I think we're always looking 2 weeks in the past. So if we go, how many people died today? We go, well, they caught it probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So what we see today, we can expect to be different from the other thing based on the doubling rate. So if it's doubling every 6 days, we can expect to be more than twice as bad in 2 weeks' time. That's one of the things you don't know where on the curve you are, but you're chasing your tail in terms of time. It's not like Ebola and so many other ones that really kill you quite quickly. Because you're like, oh, we had it yesterday. Who was standing next to him yesterday? You, get in a room. Like, where were you 2 weeks ago? I don't know. Have you come into contact with thousands of people? You know how many sandwiches I bought?
You're peeling his running off, Paul Berry. You're
Tell-
peeling his running off.
I don't know. Do you want to start peeling my running off?
I don't know what that means, Paul.
Hit us again, Paul. Tell us what you mean. Bugger that. Just ride and learn. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, get it wrong. Show your mistakes. I think some of it is if you go out for 2 days and you show every crash that happens across 2 days, including low-speed tip-overs, on a heavy-laden bike, sure, there are a few of them, and you show all of your worst moments. That was one of the things I did on my old motovlog channel, which was not the bubbling biker, because that person never revealed their identity. And you show all of the times you make mistakes, you look like a terrible rider. But the thing is that's really interesting is you all of us have this conception in our heads, and it's called illusory superiority. And you can do, statistically, you say, what is your chance of being in an accident? Most people are like, oh, you know, serious life-changing accident, 1 in 6 or something. They're quite correct about that. What is the chance that it's your fault? The only correct answer is 50-50. But everybody always goes, oh, no, it's probably somebody else's fault. Some people do stupid stuff on the roads, not recognizing we all occasionally do stupid stuff on the roads. So I think you're right. Make more mistakes is actually the key, because you learn to recover from them, you learn how they happen. If you don't realize how many mistakes you're having and you deny to yourself that you're making mistakes, and you don't go, I did pull out of there without looking, or you know, I did overcook it on that turn, or I didn't, you know, I hit the brakes in the middle of the apex of a turn because it was you won't learn. So it's linked, I think.
If you're not failing,
Jesus. You got me with that. I don't know why I clicked on that link. I'm so glad I didn't bring it up on the main screen. That is intense. Who the hell is this person? BB Obi-Wan Kambloma. All right, there we go.
don't open that link.
Yeah. Has Lisa got herself a DR650 yet? Good question. Sorry.
Okay,
No, you go.
all I was going to say is the thing with falling. If you're not failing at doing the things that you're doing, then you're not. I don't really feel like you're pushing yourself to improve. You know, there was a thing about, someone sent us a message a while ago, and this was one of the ones that really, the comments were like, that doesn't really make sense, because they were saying, you should be sitting down unless you need to stand. It's like, but if you sit down until you need to stand, how are you going to learn to be good at standing for when you need to stand? The only way to improve your standing is to practice at standing. So it was.
How are you going to be at all effective? Some of the main skill is getting up onto the pegs.
Yeah. Improving the balance, and you only get that by the amount of time that you spend standing on the pegs. So, yeah, there's a real thing of, I don't know, people don't like to see you fail, but we like to show us failing only, one half because it's entertaining. It's good to watch. It's good to watch people, mess things up, and also I think it's more realistic of actually how the riding goes. Like we do try stuff that is really hard and really
it's just watchable too, and some of the thing that people love about the channel and about watching us is also what I like about you is that you get up after them, that you shake yourself off, like that big crash you had. Which have we still showed the crash to people? The big crash you had, the only outspeed crash you had.
No, you were looking for it, but you couldn't. Well, we have seen it. They've seen it on the bike episode where it says more. What is it? More. I don't know.
Just
what
more,
it is, but
not less.
oh, Harold is about to project.
No, okay, never mind. Get where you go. You can go again. Because some of the whole reason for the trip and my whole way of coaching people and people development, I think, is that essentially you're a circle, right? And you're trying to make your circle bigger. Now, if the only way to make your circle bigger is by doing stuff, right? Repetition. Get in flow while you're doing it, and that repetition will be quicker, but you'll get better at anything you practice, be that criticizing yourself or riding a motorbike off-road. the best way to do it to get in flow is to be at the edge of your capability. The only way to know you're at the edge of your capability is if you're sometimes stuffing up. If you've never stacked it, if you're an off-road rider and you just never stacked it, you're just not doing anything interesting. And I see people that do that where they're like, yeah, I like riding off-road, and then they putter down dirt tracks quite a bit.
And that's fine. That's
No
fine.
offense to that, but your circle's staying the same size. You got this good at doing it, and then
You're not going to
moved on with your life.
at
You know,
the same
it's-
pace, yeah. So
the thing is
yeah,
that if you don't know
definitely-
how hard the hit is, if you never fall, yeah, that's some of the thing. Actually, you're more scared of falling until you've done it a few times, and you're like, no, if you roll effectively and you pay attention to where you're going and you know what to look out for because you've had near misses before. I had one the other week. Oh, I've got that footage somewhere here actually. Riding with my mate off road on his WR, and I've got full armor on. And I'm belting it around these roads. Oh no, actually, I think maybe I was doing this one on my DR. I tried to, because I did it on his WR the last time, or one of the other. No, I'm on his WR 450, and come off on a tree stump that looks like that. Just looks like a sort of set of knives of old dead wood. You know how it gets that kind of spiky nature to it. Bang! Straight in the middle of my chest. That I still had quite a sharp bruise there, despite wearing a solid chest plate of armor, and had to pick bits of wood out of it. And it was useful because that's a terrifying, you know, as I was going off the bike, I was like, but it's so useful to know that that's what can befall you, you know, rather than just not crashing or going, oh, she seems to be tipping over a lot on flat ground, so maybe you should do more coaching. It's like, we do plenty of coaching just because you're not doing it the same way. That's some of the frustrating comments. What are the other frustrating comments?
I was just thinking, someone says, yeah, Kachoska? The Kachoska? Absolutely love you guys. The humour, the places, great edits. You would greatly benefit from a better video camera.
Right now, yeah, I do feel we're a bit out of focus. I'm not happy with this.
This is not a good webcam.
Yeah, we'll sort that out. It's just, never mind. No excuses. It's terrible.
It gets like diminished because of the fact that Harry wants to be able to put stuff in the background, so it compresses the image from the webcam into an even worse format, I think.
It's not what happens.
But why is it so good here and why is it so bad there?
Because, well, the webcam is going to make it flicker a bit, but that's the same focus. We don't need. We can.
But clear and not clear.
Then
Riddle me that.
hang on. Let me try one thing then. Let's switch it
No,
for.
no trying things. No trying things. We're
Switch
in
it
too
to
deep.
frame rate
We're
processing
90
by
minutes in on the
frame rate.
flickery.
Yeah. Anyway, it's flickering. Yeah, I agree with you though. We're working on it. I mean, this is. If I were to show you around this room how many lights we've got set up, the fact that I've got a green screen and studio mics and all of this stuff, it is still a work in progress. So it's useful feedback. Thank you very much. And a very nice way of giving feedback too. I don't usually like to talk about the compliment sandwich of like starting with a compliment, but I do think it's worthwhile getting people in a positive state to go, hey, I like this and I like this and I like this. Just be mindful of that. Whereas a lot of the people are like, you do this wrong in my opinion. You click on their channel and they're like, there's them trying to ride around a flat grassy paddock and you're like, oh, who am I listening to? You're not Graham Jarvis. Graham Jarvis types, I'll listen.
I'll listen to anyone. Anyone's advice is good. Kachoska just responded and said, not this camera. Means the action camera you use on the bike. So the thing is with that, we use a GoPro 7, which is basically what I think most people are using, but we don't film it in 4K. We film it in 1080p. And the reason for that is because Harry has this obsession with filming everything. You know, quite often when you watch people's videos, they'll be saying something interesting happened, but it'll be to say, this interesting thing just happened because they didn't have the camera on. So Harry's so obsessed with not missing interesting things that are happening that he'd rather film everything, which means filming it in 1080p, rather than filming.
How many Ps do you need?
Filming 4K.
Who needs Ks? Ps, it's about
Which will give
Ps,
you that
baby.
better
Ps get
clarity.
degrees.
So we are using the right camera stuff. It's kind of a conscious choice.
Unless you mean the flattening. I do like the things I do like about. I don't like the flattening, but that's all action cameras with a wide field of view. You can actually really see it quite nicely if you ever look at small world stuff on 360 cameras. 360 cameras capturing this sphere. And you can get these beautiful shots where if you look in the sphere out at what's coming up, you go, I can see there's a hill coming up, but by the time it gets underneath you, it's this flat bit of, it looks like a conveyor belt. And it's just, if you want to capture more, you have to flatten the image. You've got to sort of curve the image, but it uncurves the real landscape around you. It's very difficult to get it. G'day, Shattered. Good to see you again. This is slightly different to Tarkov. Good to meet you. What trips do you both have planned in the coronavirus once the coronavirus passes? Well, our main trip is Sydney to London.
Yeah. So the Sydney to London trip was supposed to be starting in 3 months from now. I think that's pretty much off the cards, or hiatus. And the plan there was up to Darwin. You can take you can't even get on the boat, but you can put your bike on a boat to go to Timor, and it's basically the only way to get off the island. And then you can take a flight to Timor, and then you go up through Indonesia and through the Southeast Asia, cross.
And what were your thoughts on going to PNG, Papua New Guinea?
A real hassle to get there and get out of there.
Without being eaten?
Without, just in general, it's not the most easy place. It would have taken a lot of time, and we didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Go across to Myanmar, then India, Pakistan.
Shabash.
Hoping to do Saudi Arabia because they opened that whole area up. Was the plan, and then through Egypt, Sudan, and then try and find a way of getting from Sudan to
The east side of Africa.
Not Nigeria. What's to the east?
She knows all this
The
stuff.
west side of Africa. Basically, try and cross over. It's a little bit hairy in that middle bit of Africa, so it might have been like taking a flight from Sudan to Nigeria or something, and then across there up through Morocco and through Europe back to London was the plan. Is the plan.
This is how cool
it's
this
a bit
is.
pushed out now,
Because I think it often looks like I'm pushing Liz to do stuff that's outside her comfort zone. And I think I do try, I don't know why I put the quite in there. I do try to strike the balance between what I think you want me to make you. It's almost like a personal trainer thing. And so I think it looks a lot like that on stream, plus it's on the videos, plus it's more interesting that way. But I do think you just naturally do that. Like when you play your board games or anything, you push yourself, or I come in and see you playing Mirror's Edge, you're like, no, I will get that down to 25 seconds, that run. And that was the same thing I very much saw when we were planning the trip, where I was planning Southeast Asia, India, Pakistan. I was considering Afghanistan, and then a straight shot across Europe. So there was one sort of bit of the world where people would likely go, what are you going there for? Whereas Liz was like, well, okay, if we're going, Saudi Arabia's on the list, Yemen's on the list. What was the one you just said? Not Sudan. What was the one you just said?
Sudan.
You did say Sudan.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go to Sudan? See what I mean? Do you get what I'm working with here? I'm like, I've watched documentaries about Sudan. The places shoot people from choppers. They don't even bother to turn up in person. Just and then Liz is like, I think I want to do Africa. I was like, which countries? And she then sat down for weeks drawing a line between the civil wars in Africa. And I was like, that's so
Really
cool.
difficult.
It's really difficult to pick your way between
Africa
civil
is a
wars.
continent, right? And I had not grasped this at all. I thought it's massive. All you got to do is get from west to east. Because originally we were going to come Morocco and go to Sydney. So now all you got to do is do east to west, right? You leave Morocco, you arrive Egypt. Arrive Egypt, leave Morocco. Just get between those. It is so hard because you look and you go, okay, this is connected to these 4 countries. I don't know if you watch my travel planning for Morocco, that's a good example of what the place is like. Because you look at it and go, well, here's 4 borders. So we go to this 4 border and say, okay, that border hasn't been open for 40 years. This country's got a civil war going on.
That one's connected by a 200-kilometre long stretch of dirt road that is regularly completely impassable to anyone because some group of people have dug it up so that they can extract money from your
end
life.
up with they always talk about Burkina Faso, for example, is like one of the really loved places that's in the middle, and now that's like this big Taliban problem going on. So
I knew a guy. I worked with a guy.
It's harder than you think it is. Now even more so.
I did a talk at a big sleep out in in the UK. So anybody from the UK, because I do think I worked a bit with this charity. It's called Trinity. It's run by a guy called Steve Headley, and he runs this thing called the Big Sleep Out, at which I got to share the stage with Russell Brand. I was MC and I introduced Russell Brand, and he called me a ray of sunshine. And Steve Headley, who runs this thing. So if ever you're looking for a big sleep out to go and support, I really like the work they do. I have mixed feelings generally about most charity. I'm not sure it actually works or is a good idea, but I absolutely happily devote a lot of my time and attention to Trinity. I think they do great work. It's so hard to judge. You always need a lens of time to look back and go, did that help? 99% of the time it's like, no, it made it worse. Anyway, not to get political again. Look at her rolling her eyes. I wasn't even looking at her or the screen. I could tell that was happening. He ran a charity in Burkina Faso. So he was teaching women how to dig wells or something like this. They kept asking the men, and the men would sort of go, oh, this is the most important place in the town, or we should do it here because we think the water's there. And once they put the women in charge, the women are like, we're the ones who have to collect the water. Can we have a say here? And so they were in charge of digging wells then and teaching other towns how to dig wells. It sounded really interesting. And yeah, then Taliban, or, isn't it? Who is it? Boko Haram or something? No, they're way further away. I'm not so good on my one, but was it the Taliban?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There you go. Liz knows about this stuff. So he stopped working there. Oh, Ian's back to tell us about, so he don't use the engine. So he's changed it from being in neutral. Don't use the engine when going down hills. We do.
So Harry does. So Ian has said, just would like to know why you both don't use the engine when going down hills. Instead, just coasting down the engine will help you stay upright and good going.
Same chap that was
So
saying we're in neutral.
yeah. So as I was just saying before, so Harry does use the engine when he goes down the hill. I sometimes will put the clutch in just because of fear. So it is bad.
It's
Bad
also
practice. I'm just scared of it stalling, and I'll put it down. Also, what I will sometimes do, and you'll see that in the next episode, I will literally turn the engine off and just use the brakes.
about
and
20
go down
people in
the
our
hill.
last episode are like, just switch the bike off and then use the clutch as a brake, and then you've got brake on both hands for front and back. And I was like, yeah, we know we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, but
There's limited amount of time we can do it.
so we know that you shouldn't be putting
agree.
the clutch in and coasting. Like, it's not the ideal way to ride down the hill. For me, it is just a bit of fear. So
Also, to be fair to you, the geometry of that bike, it's really sad that we don't have many clips of me trying to go down hills on it, because I'm not great by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm better than you. And you'll see the back wheel skitter out, the front wheel lock up, and I'll have to let it go. I think something about, I don't fully understand how motorcycle geometry works, but I feel like the front forks get too close to vertical too easily, like it lifts up a bit. I feel like it lurches forward, so the front wheel gets too heavy and the back wheel gets too light or something like that. It also could be because we're doing it so laden so often, but it does feel very juddery and skiddy down hills, whereas up hills, you just walks. It's blah, 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 blah.
so good up hills. It is
Fantastic.
when it's fully laden. The Himalayan, it does struggle a bit.
Yeah.
With the back end coming.
Yeah. Jersey said again now, border closures were a problem in Hungary. Yeah, it's see, the idea of a border closure, I would also be like, I'll just turn up to the border, be like, man, I've got to get over there. And I think you could stand a good chance of getting across it if some borders are closed, and you can go around them. What I'm concerned by is if all borders are closed, but I've been fascinated by collapse scenarios my whole life. So what happens when COVID or whatever gets so bad that people don't, there's no rule of law anymore. If there's no running water, there's no rule of law, no police officers turning up to their job. So I would be very nervous about going through places like that.
Yeah, I think the good thing with border closures, there's a site called Horizons Unlimited, which I'm sure a lot of you will know of. And they're
Give it a
pretty
quick
good at
description.
keeping up. It's a forum for overlanders. And they're pretty good at keeping people updated in what's the situation with this border. And like in the world of the internet now, I think you can get a good idea of how things are currently. And it all changes as you go, says Ray McCabe. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You have to be flexible with these sort of things. But yeah, it's a bit ahead of us now. It feels like, you know, as you're
There's no
talking about
letting
it,
now.
we were getting quite excited for going, and now it's just
I feel like
bit more distant.
Well, I feel like a few possibilities can happen. One, it could collapse and get worse, but the other is, if you think about that curve that they're all talking about, we're on the front side of it, and we know that. Once we're towards the back side, once we think that the curve is now going down, i.e. more people have been infected than there are left to infect per country, you can very quickly start relaxing things, because now you've also built up a bunch of infrastructure. You've got a bunch of empty beds for treating people, a bunch of respirators, where it's like we actually want to speed up the last people that get it. So it's a chance that, because they're going to get it eventually, you know, if it's not this season, it'll be next season. But then some of the question is, will it become seasonal? Because swine flu is now seasonal. I read that. I don't know if that's true, but I read it. So that's what I can tell you. I read that.
Jersey Woking said, I'd rather see what you saw in 1080p rather than not see what you couldn't film in 4K.
Exactly.
Cheers.
The number of times we had it, actually one time when taking Liss's bike collecting Liss's bike from the motorbike place where my camera fell off, and then a woman nearly knocked me off the bike and went, "You didn't have your indicator on." And Liz was like, "You did," but neither of us were filming. It's always the most interesting stuff happens when you don't have your camera on. I absolutely agree with that. I think that's so well said, Jersey.
Yeah. Cedric
I'll pay you
says,
later.
no problems with the focus, but anything looks good when it's your birthday. Is it your birthday?
Is it your birthday?
Happy birthday.
Everybody say happy birthday to Cedric there. G'day, Cedric Trounson. Happy
Cheers.
birthday.
That's gone. It's over.
Oh, my joke's null and void then. G'day, thanks on Ireland. Oh, we also had that before. Anyway, I've got to check if there's anything more on Facebook. I think it's probably time to wrap it up. We've had 44 people watching for a long time. Not sure if there's anything else anybody would like to watch. I'm happy to show you another couple of clips or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think we've been going almost 2 hours, so I think we'll do another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just check if we've missed any questions.
Really want to thank you guys for turning up, because I mean, we got straight up. Yeah, Bacon Tactics is happy birthday. Cheers from Texas. And Bacon Tactics, no, he's a good person. I'm assuming, man. Nobody else knows Tarkov except boys. And it's sorry, Liz wanted to take control. It's been it's really thoughtful messages, lovely questions. The fact that you watch our videos, that partly that number goes up, but one of the things, because we're really keen to make the YouTube channel a success, when you see that number go up, you're like, yay! But then when you see a familiar name, people that we've talked to before, I want to hear from Klaus. Look, Klaus might make a little appearance later on. He might come and say, hello, how are you doing? It's
Klaus
good to
has
see
been
you.
a very divisive character.
Oh, some people he makes very cranky, but Klaus likes it when you get very cranky.
Well, Rod Edwards is not a Klaus fan.
Why? What has Rod said?
I don't.
But that's some of my
Squire
charm.
says, I want to hear from Klaus, and then Rod Edwards. The very next comment, he's barely 40 seconds later, and he's already
He was right on
gone,
the
I don't want to hear from Klaus. That is enough for me. It's his problem, because it was basically one day he was obsessed with speaking like Klaus. But because that one episode has become 3 episodes, that one day has become 3 episodes, so he just keeps coming, and we got the messages after it for some people going, oh, enough of Klaus already. It's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but that's you're going to have more Klaus.
I don't think it's our job to make everybody happy with every episode. I think some of the best shows are like, stuff you, this is the show I'm making, and sometimes the low, it's almost a sunk cost fallacy or something, where like, not quite the lows make you appreciate the highs. I'm not saying Klaus was a low, but it's just, if you try to, I think it's, otherwise you end up making TV by numbers. Not that we're making TV, but you're making content by numbers, where you're like, what's going to get us the highest hits? And if you want an example of a channel that did that, Motovlog channel, Yummy Noob. Used to introduce you to a bit of his life, used to ride a bit too quick, would go do this, he had a personality, and then he made this thing like the 10 bikers you'll meet, and it went absolutely ballistic. It was sort of multiple tens of millions of views, and it made him a chunk of money. And so he's like, that's all, it just became a listicle channel. Where I think, just for the sake of my own sanity, and as I said, the happy science guy, the Vax Chats friend, I want to keep making videos like that. So if I try to keep people happy with not being Klaus is a very naughty boy. That's correct bacon tactics. He needs to be punished. You know how us Germans like the punishment.
See, the problem with Klaus is that I find him so funny. I really enjoy
giggles.
I really giggle. So it feeds that in Harry's mind. So he's like, I'm gonna keep speaking like Klaus.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, as the magpie flies.
G'day. Oh my goodness, it's magpie flies. There you are.
She's got a great channel, by the way, on a great bike channel on YouTube.
Yeah. Really good gear reviews and stuff like that. Sort of
just,
explanations of what to pack. Who was asking before about camping suggestions? As a magpie flies, her channel has got a lot of that stuff. Very useful. Fortnite, oh my god, Fortnite is great fun. He started out, and I watched one of his first videos, which I think he posted to Reddit very early on. Do you know Fortnite, the Canadian guy?
Of course.
And he used to have these very sharp hand gestures, and you could see he was just feeling out to find his identity. And I was like, I don't know, you're really irritating, but also very easy to watch. And I just became addicted to him. I've remained addicted to him since, and that's why I do as a Klaus. So like, Klaus is not going anywhere, baby.
All right,
He will be with
one
you
more
forever.
question.
Why is it the chat suddenly exploded?
Because we said last questions, and then we're
Last
going.
question.
So now everyone's like,
Why are you such a dickhead? Why are you leaving me on Easter Sunday?
okay.
I rode a Ducati and Suzuki 650 around Sydney last year. I normally ride a classic. What's the percent?
500. That
500. Oh yeah, the bigger version of the Bullet. Oopsie, there's a computer. All rose Himalayan and Sikkim. Oh, do you hear how I just said it? Oh, she got me.
Yeah, if you're gonna ride a Royal Enfield, I mean, they want
Do
to
it
be
in
rode
India.
in India, don't
Yeah.
they?
Plus, so many people in
we
India would
talked
start
about
having parts.
Fortnite. When's your next? No, we're not talking about the Tarkov stream.
Liz loves it when I spend more than half a day in here playing Tarkov and the next less than half a day sleeping in the bed she was sleeping in until recently. No, we're not sleeping in separate rooms. I mean, I get into it soon before she'll get back out of it.
Oh, and then someone's just asked, what's the head fairing on the DR? It looks awesome.
Oh, that's the I was tossing up between the Yencro and the Lynx made by Britannia Composites. I like the idea of the Yencro because people said it was like sort of crash proof, and I am worried about the plastic nature of the Lynx, just because if it, somebody said that there's rattled loose. So I haven't installed anything heavy up the top of it. You see there's a big bit of empty dash where I hello moth. G'day, it's a bogong. But so far it's been fantastic. The voltmeter is really good because a couple of times I'm like, oh, better switch that thing off because it's not hitting 14 volts. It's really good so far. But I am curious to see what it looks like after an impact or a really long bit of corrugated road. Yeah.
So people are saying lovely messages about the chat, which is so nice. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, as Magpie Flies. Thank you, Windsorian, Cedric. Thank you for everyone who was.
Thank you so much for joining us. And honestly, it's
been really nice. We didn't know if people would actually watch, and it's been awesome to have people chatting the whole time. So really enjoy it. I think we'll definitely do another one in a while.
Oh crap! I haven't looked at Facebook in hours, literally hours. Hang on, we might need to say goodbye to people.
We've got another video coming up on Wednesday. It's my turn to edit. We take turns in editing. I haven't even started doing the editing.
Is that what we do? We take
Well,
turns. No, it's good. I'm glad we're gonna start taking turns.
Yeah,
in
you do
editing.
4, I do 1.
It's a turn.
It's a turn.
It's multiple turns. I give you more than the turns.
Yeah.
Turn and turn about.
Yeah. So there should be one up on Wednesday. We've been a bit hit and miss the last couple of months. We'll do 2 in a week and then 1 2 weeks later. So sorry about that. Things have been a bit all over the place. A bit like the world, really.
Bacon Tactics wants people to know. I'll have her know I haven't mentioned Tarkov in hours.
So that's what we're going to end it on, is it? A message about Tarkov.
It's a great game. It's awful, but it's great. It's been great. We'll do another one of these. We don't want to do them too often because we 46 people's attention for 2 hours is a lot.
Yeah, you guys have been awesome.
But if you would like more of them, or I was also thinking shorter shows where we can do clips or something like roundups of the week, which might be fun. It's awfully great. I noticed here, yes, I did miss our weekly shot. Yeah. Lockdown meant battery getting discharged, used a trickle charger to top it. That's actually a really good idea. My bike battery's going to be flat as a tack. Any bikers out there, find a trickle charger, or occasionally, that could be essential business. I don't want to kill my battery. There you go. Now you can go for a ride by yourself.
All right. So I think that's enough for the chat.
All right.
Time
See you
for us
guys.
to sign off.
Yeah, we're going to be signing off. We've had enough champagne. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves.
We polished the bottle of champagne for
Yeah.
Easter. Enjoy Easter. I know we are basically at the front, unless we've got some Kiwis still around. We're at the front of Easter, so I hope everyone else enjoys the rest of their Easter. And we'll see you again soon.
More lovely comments. Thank you very much, Bacon and Sauce and Douglas and Objective, and yeah, happy Easter to you too. All right, cheers, guys.